Before you watch the total misery of the New York Knicks, I want you to see this game. Jolly Bat is a simple 2D game where your goal is to fly your bat safely to the finish line. 10 seasons, 200 plus levels, score mode, online leaderboards. It's available on Android and iOS, and I'll drop the link below. It's not just another sponsorship or whatever. This is totally our game. Me and my friend made this game, and this is our first mobile game, so I would be very happy if you download it. Jolly Bat, get it now.
And NBA history has just been made. The New York Knicks are the first 8 seed to ever make the NBA Finals.
Ward to a Kings three-way. He's underneath, trying to find some. The San Antonio Spurs have won their first NBA championship.
Congratulations to the Indiana Pacers. Well deserved. The best team all year. They proved it during the regular season and
It's a great opportunity for myself and also the New York Knicks.
This is one of them jobs you don't even think about. You imagine being the president of the United States before you imagine being the president of the New York Knicks.
Man, I think I'm gonna average like 10 points, like 12, 13 dimes, like 2, 3 assists. We got Zach Randolph. So now we got a beast to throw the ball down low to. Yes, sir. Now you got help. They scared now. Yeah.
I'll tell you, you're the best guard in the league, and the team's 17 and 45. Yeah, it's the coach's fault.
I'm no longer going to allow him to say things about me, and I'm not going to say anything back. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Well, let me be very, very clear about what I'm about to say. I am in no way advocating violence. Not at all. But I am advocating I am advocating those individuals who need to be ostracized. There needs to be a barricade surrounding the city of New York. These individuals should not be allowed in it. They should be kicked out the second that they're spotted. And I don't care if it takes a mob with a mob's mentality to get it done. Whatever it takes. The atrocity that is the New York Knicks. I can't even get into what I saw yesterday in Philadelphia. It is halftime. You are playing against a team that's about 5 or 6 games below 500, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference by accident. They are not a good team. They are below average. They are clearly in rebuilding mode. Ed Stefanski, the general manager, the president of basketball operations of the Philadelphia 76ers, would tell you that himself. And still, they doubled up the New York Knicks in the first half, 72-36. It got to a point where they take it on being up by 50. A walking abomination. A walking embarrassment. A disgrace of the highest order. They are so damn pathetic. I'm ashamed to be in the same building as the New York Knicks right now, which is where we do this radio show. We have the audacity to do the radio show from Madison Square Garden. Hopefully we don't start itching, get contaminated or something. Just a disgrace. I don't know what to say. It is that horrible what we witnessed. It's one thing to get blown out by Boston. That was embarrassing in and of itself weeks ago. But to have that happen against the Philadelphia 76ers for the second time this season is embarrassing. Eddie Curry, rumors about him going to Miami Heat. Pat Riley knocked that down. I say Isaiah Thomas, look, do what you got to do. Take the expiring contracts of Ricky Davis and Jay Williams. Offer Eddie Curry to Miami for free. Offer him for a bag of chips, for crying out loud. I got some cheese doodles right here, the wise cheese doodles. I got it right here. Got it right here. Offer it because he's not worth that. That would be a bargain. Pathetic. Jamal Crawford, that please.
I really have to have that conversation. But that is the conversation. The conversation is to talk about the team, how we got to the point where we are. I think at a point because I think there are some good players here.
I look at the roster, and that's the roster I'm going to win with. And Donnie and I'll work together, and we'll see where you go. Obviously, every NBA team has some turnover, but I didn't come into thinking, we'll have to start from zero. A couple players here, but I like players in general. And I think if they're put in the right position, then, hopefully they can perform and be productive, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Cleveland Cavalier fans, Toronto Raptor fans, enjoy them while you got them. Summer 2010, New York Knicks fans, stand, cheer, and rejoice. I know right now Nate Robinson wears number 4 and Quentin Richardson wears number 23. Expect to see LeBron James and Chris Bosh donning those numbers that season.
ESPN NBA insider J.A. Donde, the breaking news, NBA free agency, and it's coming out of New York. What do you have?
5-year, $100 million deal for Amari Stoudemire, done deal. Got that confirmed. So the Knicks do have something in-house, at least one piece in place, one of the elite free agents and a top 10 scorer in the league last year. They believe that they can have, he's a guy that fits in the same offense that obviously they're running in Phoenix because Mike D'Antoni got that started. Now he's coaching the New York Knicks. They also believe that they can address any defensive deficiencies that he might have through free agency, through some other moves that they can make. Of course, they're holding out hope that they can land the other big piece out there, LeBron James. Don't know how likely that is, but at least they have something in place. They have something that can appeal to another free agent. They have something that they can show for 2 years of building toward this great free agency summer. It might not be enough to satisfy all Knicks fans, but at least they're not going to come up empty-handed.
is finally done. The Carmelo Anthony trade saga is finally over. Anthony going to his desired destination, Madison Square Garden, play with the Knicks. This a very detail-oriented trade, so we're going to show you all the components so you can get an idea of why this took so long. The Knicks get Anthony, point guard Chauncey Billups, Sheldon Williams, Anthony Carter, and former Knick, now going back to the Knicks, Ronaldo Balkman.
26 points and 10 rebounds for him as the Mean Green Machine sweep the Knicks out of the playoffs, the first to advance to the second round. They now await the winner of the Heat Sixers.
Way outside, he's got 13. Miami wins game 2, and they take a 2-0 lead in the first round of this Eastern Conference playoff.
Very difficult. Facing an 0-2 series hold to the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs became cartoonishly hard for the New York Knicks in the moments following their Game 2 defeat. Apparently frustrated by the 104-94 loss, All-Star forward Amari Stoudemire punched a fire extinguisher with his left hand, cutting it badly. Initially, paramedics and a stretcher were brought into the Knicks locker room, but they left without him. However, it is believed that Stoudemire had to get stitches, and he left American Airlines Arena with his left arm in a sling, leaving the Knicks in a quandary and trying to face Game 3 with the possibility that they'll have to play it without him.
Stoudemire recovers the loose ball, goes for the dunk. He's called for the charge and then kind of offers to help Shane Battier up, and then psych.
You think that's what he was laughing about while he was sitting on the bench?
No. I don't know. Who knows? A lot of time to think about the offseason.
Doc Rivers on the way out.
Yeah, those guys have given the Celtics everything they had. Unfortunately, they only was able to win one championship. They got one, but again, the future, what's going to happen with the Boston Celtics? Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, even though Garnett has 2 years left on his deal, is he going to want to come back and go through the rebuilding process? Paul Pierce, there's a buyout and an option on his deal, so Celtics got some big decisions to make this offseason.
Indiana wins it by 7 and remains perfect at home in the postseason. Your final score, 106-99.
On the heels of the Nets-Celtics blockbuster deal, the Knicks involved in an interdivision swap on Sunday with the Toronto Raptors as they acquire the former top overall pick Andrea Bargnani.
Phil Jackson, you're the one that broke the rumor that the Knicks were talking to him. Just one in a number of stories that you've broken throughout your career. What are your thoughts on Phil Jackson taking the job as president of the New York Knicks?
The bottom line is that he's an 11-time champion. He's been to the finals 13 out of his 20 seasons as a coach. He's never had a losing record. To say that his resume is illustrious does it no justice whatsoever. He's as elite as they come in the game today. And no matter what we may think about the Knicks from time to time based on the kind of season that they've had, there's no getting around the fact that this is a move in a positive direction. We have to concede that, and that as much as we want to talk about the New York Knicks doing something wrong, in the interest of fairness, we have to give them credit where credit is due and acknowledge that in this particular instance, they've done something right.
Obviously, Derek's getting a learning process, but we think that his experience for the last 3 or 4 years has been one of more assistant coach player role, and he's learned under some of the best coaches.
Every experience that I've ever had and gained in the sport of basketball all leads to this moment. The good things, the bad things, the success, the failures, the mistakes, the triumphs, the championships, the early playoff exits. They all matter, and they all provide an experience for me that I look forward to sharing with our players and helping us reestablish the championship culture that exists in the DNA of this organization and in this city.
With the 4th pick in the 2015 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis from Liepāja, Latvia. He last played for Sevilla in Spain.
Stephen A. Smith joins us now. Stephen A., I'm going to ask you very calmly to explain to me what in the good name of Frederick Weiss Phil Jackson did tonight.
Well, first of all, it beats me. Let me be very, very clear. I'm very confused at this pick simply because when I think about Phil Jackson, he made promises that he's simply not keeping. And if I seem a bit agitated, yes, it would happen to be because I'm on vacation and I came off vacation just to talk about this subject because as a native New Yorker, I'm completely disgusted. When I look at this kid, Porzingis, let me be very, very clear about this kid, Porzingis, okay? The kid is talented. He knows how to spread the floor. He's 7'1". He's 220. He can put the ball on the floor. He can spread it. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's got tremendous talent. And in 3 to 5 years, he may very well be big time. But, gentlemen, this is not about that. This is about now. Because when you look at the fact that Phil Jackson picked this individual, you're talking about a project.
Porzingis steps back, fires, and hits. Porzingis showing off a little bit of his skill. Lopez facing up. Porzingis throws it down on Love, just towering over both Aldridge and Love in consecutive games. Porzingis again showing range.
Grant finds Porzingis. Scoop shot is good. Anthony's jump shot misses. Oh, Porzingis does it again. Galloway short. Porzingis again.
I gotta admit, I'm stunned. He deserves it. I like the promise. Phil Jackson looks like he did well with this pick.
I think we were able to get the guys that we wanted to be part of this group to move forward with.
We think the players that we've been able to attract to this team complement each other, and I think the audience that we have in New York will appreciate these players.
I think the biggest thing is that these guys have found team guys that want to win, want to go out there, lay it out there, and that's what's exciting for a coach, is to have a group of guys now that we know who we have, and after talking to all of them, seeing what they say about how excited they are for the season, it's a great start.
Right now, everybody looking over there. Apparently, there's a
Charles Oakley over there, Mike.
Fight in the stands. Charles Oakley is involved in something. They need security in a big way. Security is there. Oakley now being taken off. And this is an ugly thing to see about a guy who played here for over 10 years, a terrific player. Oakley and the Knicks organization have not seen eye to eye recently. Oakley been very critical about them. The Knicks organization not happy with that, so it hasn't been a good relationship over the last several years. You hear some fans chanting Oakley. He was a beloved player, but all the players were distracted by it. The officials tried to have the game keep going, but it was happening in the second row.
Who do you think looks worse in this situation, Oakley or your squad?
The Knicks look worse, much worse. And by the way, in one respect, neither looks good, because a middle-aged man should never be in a position where he has to be forcibly removed from a public event. You know, I mean, especially when he's twice the size of the guys that are publicly removing. I get that. And as Stephen A. mentioned, there was law enforcement apparently working as security at Madison Square Garden. That's very bad. So Oakley looks bad there. But in a larger sense, Oakley also looks good, not in terms of the letter of the law, but in terms of the feeling of it for Knicks fans, which is, he shows up, he's a Knicks legend, whether or not he wasn't a great player, but he's a very good player, an honest, hard-working player, 10 years with the team, deep playoff runs, left it all on the floor. New York loves him, and here he is. According to him, he wasn't cursing Dolan out at first. That didn't start until Dolan sent his security goons over to get Oakley out of there. And then he was like, don't put your hands on me. And a lot of people in that crowd are thinking, hey, if more Knicks players had the kind of feeling, the fighting spirit of no one's going to put their hands on me, this team would be better off. And furthermore, think about it from the point of view of the Knicks, guys. The Knicks have one of their most beloved players in the stands, even if it was his fault, even if I'll concede that as the facts come out, it proves that Oakley was in the wrong. There's no better way to handle it than to publicly lead him away with security. You couldn't have smoothed it over some way that doesn't make the franchise look so bad. It looked completely dysfunctional. It damages the brand of the Knicks, and New York is behind Charles Oakley.
You know what? I was not. And the reason why I was not is because I knew that if the New York Knicks picked him, it would irritate me. And And I'm never surprised when Phil Jackson irritates me. It's just that simple. I expect him to annoy me. I expect him to grate my nerves. I expect him to get on my last damn nerves. I expect him to do things that provoke me to say he needs to get the hell out of town, that we need to put barricades up in New York City and not let him in because he doesn't care about this franchise. He doesn't care about the city. He's just here collecting money, stealing a check as far as I'm concerned. And this is the latest example of it. Let me take it from here. It's cause for celebration. Let's be very, very clear about this. On this particular day, even though the statement wasn't the greatest in the world, we should pay thanks to James Dolan. A little bit late to the party, but nevertheless, he came to his senses. Phil Jackson needed to go. You know why Phil Jackson needed to go? Because he never really wanted the job in the first place. He wanted the money. He was here for the money. He fleeced James Dolan and the Knicks for the money. And ultimately, he walks out the door with all of the money.
What's your reaction to the trade?
Well, my reaction is that I thought it was the right move by the Knicks considering the circumstances. Carmelo Anthony is finally in a position where he's going to be able to legitimately compete for a championship, and I think that's something that his talent demands. This is a man that's been in the league for 14 years. He has never played in an NBA Finals. He's been to one conference finals in his career when he's with Denver, and Chauncey Billups was the point guard back there. We need to see somebody of his talent legitimately competing for a championship, and I think this definitely puts him in position because if Russell Westbrook and Paul George, you have one of the elite, if not the elite backcourt in all of basketball.
5 shots. Credit the Milwaukee defense. Inside Porzingis. But he goes down hard, and he's hurt.
When you sit up there and ask the question, how far does it send people back? You're implying that we ever moved forward. When has that happened? When? We've never been forward. Max, damn it, which year were you born in? Which year was this, Max? What's the year? What's the year, Max?
1973.
This is quite humbling to be sitting here today with you guys. I'm so honored to be the head coach of the New York Knicks. I mean, you can't dream of this stuff.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Kevin Knox from the University of Kentucky.
Oh no! Oh, this is now guaranteed that Kevin Knox is going to have an all-star NBA career because the Porzingis dudes are going thumbs down. I think now they may be trying. That may just be a good luck move now.
I think it's wishful, wishful thinking. That's what they're doing. Reverse psychology.
You know how Godzilla stomps through Tokyo? I'm about to do Maxzilla stomping through New York because I'm going to flame the Knicks right now. That is utter nonsense. The Knicks, let me explain something. I understand you're repeating what they're telling you. That's their thinking. That's their thinking. But let me explain what's wrong with it, okay? First of all, the idea that they're creating cap space for 2 max contracts, you better get 2 max contracts. And by the way, Knicks, the best player you get better not be Jimmy Butler, because that's the history of the Knicks. They aim for LeBron, they get Stoudemire. They aim for Charles Barkley, they get Larry Johnson. They aim for Tim Hardaway, they get Chris Childs. I remember all of this.
You might recall that the Knicks did, in fact, trade Kristaps to Dallas, freed up 2 max slots themselves for potential free agents this summer. A recent article in The Athletic highlighting all the moves the Knicks have made to potentially set themselves up to sign Kevin Durant. And take a look here. They traded for KD's friend, DeAndre Jordan, in that Porzingis deal. They also signed undrafted free agent Alonzo Trier, who played his high school ball in OKC and used to work out with KD. They also named KD's former teammate, Royale Ivey, as an assistant coach, and general manager Scott Perry was with the Sonics back when they drafted Durant. The Ivy thing is what caught my attention reading this. I had kind of not connected that dot.
Who says James Dolan don't want to win?
Should KD remain in Golden State or head to New York?
Nah, he should go. He should go. As much as I make fun of Stephen A. about the New York Knicks, he should go to New York. He's good enough. He's good enough to wipe away all that bad luck. He's good enough to wipe away the incompetence of James Dolan. He's good enough to wipe away their history. KD is the solution to the New York Knicks problem.
The 3rd pick goes to the New York Knicks.
Really thought that we had that first pick coming our way. I was excited for it. I think everybody here was excited for it. I mean, they can still move with the third pick, but everybody had the first pick on their minds.
So the Knicks, SOL again, fellas. Stephen A., the floor is yours first.
Nothing ever goes right. Nothing ever goes right for us.
According to The Athletic, the Mavericks are expected to offer a 5-year, $158 million contract to Porzingis. Dallas is hoping the dynamic duo of Kristaps and Luka will be their recipe for success.
You know, I can't even put into words my level of disgust, frustration, and beyond. Obviously, weeks ago, we all got, indications. It wasn't just me. It was Ramona, who does a great job. I can't say enough about the job you guys have done just as a show. Brian, Amin, everybody, you guys have been fantastic. But despite the obvious, I was holding out hope that, you know what, Kyrie and KD might not go to Brooklyn after all, that they might come to New York City, that they might bless us with their presence, and we might have a star for the first time in quite a while. I don't want to hear about Patrick Ewing. I don't want to hear about Carmelo Anthony. I don't want to hear about Bernard King. I mean, that's how far back I got to go, y'all. I mean, it's been that bad. I didn't want to hear all about that. I was holding out hope. But then when you put into perspective that you lose out on KD or you lose out on Kyrie, you know what? That's bad enough. But it's not just that. It's KD, it's Kyrie, it's Kawhi, it's Klay Thompson, it's Jimmy Butler. It's everybody, for crying out loud. And then they had the nerve to get on my damn nerves by bringing up Boogie Cousins as if that was going to suffice. And I immediately picked up the phone, y'all, and called the Knicks and said, oh, hell no. He better not, that better not be your consolation. That's exactly what I said to them. I said, this is not a call asking for anything. This is a call telling you as an organization that you better not even think about trying to sell Boogie Cousins to us in New York City. Not to knock Boogie Cousins, because when he's healthy, we know he could drop 28 and 12 in his sleep. But he ain't the answer we were looking for in free agency. And I was assured at least that wouldn't happen. But as we sit here today, reflecting on the state of affairs in New York, and Amin said it best, it's bad enough that you don't have Kyrie and you don't have KD. But both of them went 20 minutes away to traffic on Atlantic Avenue, to the Barclays Center instead of Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks looked like straight trash. The New York Knicks were so embarrassing last night, sanitation workers wouldn't have wanted to show up in Madison Square Garden. They couldn't take that smell. But that's not why I'm going off. You see them. Points per game differential, 29th in the NBA, dead last in offensive efficiency, dead last in field goal percentage shooting, 28th. That's third worst in the league in assists per game. They're trash! They stink!
NBA came from our Adrian Wojnarowski. As the Knicks have fired David Fizdale as their head coach, the firing came 25 days after the Knicks held an impromptu post-game presser regarding the Knicks' support for Fizdale. So let's walk through the firing and the latest with the Knicks, which is already having a rough season. Following the loss to the Cavs on November 10th, President Steve Mills and GM Scott Perry held a news conference talking about their disappointment in the team. It has not improved much since then, though. The Knicks are currently 4-18. That's the worst record in the East and tied for the worst start through 22 games in franchise history. Yeah, nobody likes that. And the last couple of games have been especially tough for New York. The Knicks have lost by a combined 81 points over the last 2 games. That's their worst point differential over any 2-game span in team history.